All right, we're back another Saturday on our Black Media Network with the Watchdogs, and we have Julius and we have Carlton with us. And how y'all doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
Can't
All
complain
right,
because it don't do no good.
it might. I don't know. We have a special guest today for our viewers. Some of you all in the local Savannah area know Mr. Todd Rhodes, and today we're going to talk with him about his bid for city council. And I'm going to kind of take a back seat, and Carlton and Julius let you all lead the conversation, just so the viewers can get a real unbiased kind of conversation going there and understand who Todd is. So I'll turn it over to you guys.
I don't know how you want an unbiased opinion out of
I'm
me.
a,
You might get it out of Carlton. You ain't gonna get it out of me. Um,
I don't know how to take that. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Rhodes. We're glad you were able to join us. I know you're a busy
Yes,
man,
sir.
especially on Saturdays. And we're just gonna ask you a bunch of questions and let the people see who you are.
Yes, sir.
All right. Carlton, you got anything you want to say before we start?
I don't know. The one thing I want to say is, Todd, it's kind of my first time hearing about you. So can you give us a little background on you so we can kind of get a little understanding about who you are?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Todd Rhodes, born and raised right here in this beautiful city of Savannah, Georgia. I am a Beach High School graduate, class of 2004. I just received my bachelor's degree from Liberty University.
Mhm.
I'm very involved in the community. Have been over a nonprofit youth organization called the Savannah Royal Lions, and just engaging in kids. I'm a husband. My wife and I, we have 10 children, 8 boys and 2 girls. And so, man, it's been a blessing. I just really I don't know, man. I just have a heart to serve, man. Just love people, love children, love our youth, and was born to serve. My dad, former Lieutenant Todd Rhodes, Savannah Police Department, was a lieutenant. He did copper claws. So as we growing up, seeing what my dad was doing in the community and helping people, it just made me want to do the same thing.
Well, that's good. We need some more public service out here. We hopefully when you get on this, we're gonna speak it into existence that you're gonna get the
That's
city
right.
council.
That's right.
Like I tell everybody, we're gonna speak it into existence that you will hold this seat come November. So hopefully we
Amen.
see such great things come from you holding the third city council district seat.
Thank you.
And before we get into the local politics, we want people to know that, that there are other politics that trickle down into what we do on the local level. And you kind of dark there too again. um, but what we do on the local level, you have to know about the broader politics across the nation, across the state. So my first question to you, do you feel sorry for Clarence Thomas and what he's going through with all the money he's taken and the RV that he's gotten, all the property that his partners are buying, his friends are buying for him, all these rich billionaires who wouldn't have even looked at his ugly self if he had not been a Supreme Court justice?
Hmm. Well, personally, I do not feel bad for him for what he's done, but I feel bad for our city because this negatively affects our city because he's from here, and
Mhm.
so what he did, it was not right, and a person of power should not do such a thing. It's sad that things like that happen, but again, I do not feel bad for him.
Okay. Okay. Robert, you ain't sleep, is it?
Well, no, I was sharing the broadcast with other folks, but um, Julius, you talked about kind of a national landscape. Let's bring it down to a state level. Todd, one of the things that you are aware of is city council kind of drives in this context of a larger conversation that is statewide politics. And so, what is one thing that you have thought about a statewide policy that impacts Savannah that you would hope to maybe address or maybe change when you become a member of council?
Definitely something with the homeless problems,
Hmm.
and also too, because we'll need statewide help, not just local help, but statewide help when it comes down to homelessness, and also to support people that's living in poverty. You know, our poverty-stricken neighborhoods and communities. Most of those communities, we know that a lot of crime and a lot of illegal activity happen there, and so definitely want to partnership with the state um, on the local level, so we can make sure that we are benefiting all citizens, not just a few.
Well, I
That's
got a question since you say that. Because, you
Mhm.
know, if you actually meet or talk to some homeless people, they have become so accustomed to being homeless that a lot of them don't want to get out of the situation that they're in. Because I know, coming from somebody who I live by myself and I'm structurally that I have to maintain everything by myself, and you come ahead in this world where everything is going up due to inflation. How do you
Mhm.
encourage somebody who is basically live rent free to get free food and they struggle on their own to want to come back into a society like we have?
Mhm. Well, now this is the wild part about it. You have hardworking people like ourselves who have jobs and who work and have careers, but you know the cost of living is just so high, and the job field they're not really paying like they should be or could be, and now you're having hardworking middle class citizens becoming those who are the ones that's going to be homeless. So you know you got to look at it from that point of view too. It's hardworking citizens that don't want to be homeless, and they're trying to do everything in their power, you know, to be able to afford to live, because the cost of living is just so high, and the rent prices are going up, the taxes, all type of things. So we have to find a way to say to people, now if people want to be in that situation, people can do what they want to do. There's nothing you can do about that, but everybody is not in that situation, and like I say, it's middle class people that I know right now that are struggling, you know, that are struggling and need the help.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Hall.
Okay. I know they're asking you some local questions, but I want you to get this feel first before we go into the local stuff. They
Yes,
are
sir.
not following the script here. Robert went and asked you question number 4, so I couldn't ask you that, but that's okay. Donald Trump. Let's talk Donald Trump for a minute. Former President, Mr. Trump. Do you think he would be convicted? Will he go to jail?
As a millennial father of 10 kids, this is the remnants of a different generation, and the boomer generation. I'm running against a boomer incumbent who has shown similar habits. Will Trump be
Hmm.
convicted? That's up for the jury to decide, but I personally think he will be found guilty.
Okay, okay. It's kind of wild out there, so we want to make sure that everybody know your views on everything from on the national stage. Because see, we failed to get this from your opponent,
Mm,
um, the one that's running around acting like a lunatic now, Linda Wilder Bryan. Um, we failed to get these things out because see, she fooled everybody when she was running,
uh-huh.
and she was all against everything that was going on at City Hall, all against the establishment. You can go back and look at her shows over a 3 or 4 year period when she was on with Alicia and Dietrich, and
Mhm.
they all were rallying for the people and saying that they would be these advocates, these strong advocates for the people, and not doing just what the status quo wanted them to do. So now we want to make sure that when we vet people and we put them in, we ask them the proper questions. See, we know that you got to have a heart and a passion to serve, because the
Yes,
money, it ain't about the money really. It's about you making a difference,
right.
and we see that in you with what you do all out in the community. So I'm gonna ask the last major question, and you can talk about this as long as you want. I'm gonna ask the last national question. What do
Mm,
you think about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and
mm,
all the racist stuff that he's doing with CRT, with his
Mhm.
views on slavery, with his suspending the district attorney the other day. He done suspended one white and one black district attorney, but both of them have to be progressive Democrats, and he didn't like what they were doing. So what's your thoughts on that before we get to the other local stuff?
It's challenging listening to DeSantis, and right here, you know, we have our own radical policies here in Georgia to contend with, and so, you know, that just, it is what it is. It's senseless. It doesn't make any sense from the different things he has going on and his different point of views and his opinions, and it's just wrong.
Okay. All right. Y'all next.
All right. Okay. Well, you know, you're going up against an incumbent that has a very unique way of expression and a unique way of being present in council and maybe in the public. How would you operate differently or do differently when you become the next councilman for that district?
Well, right off the bat, I won't embarrass myself on Facebook.
Wow.
I said we need a rational city councilman, and that says it all. Stability and being your own voice for the district is what voters are really looking for. Being told on how to vote by the mayor isn't what people elected you to do. So it's doing the right thing and not being controlled, but doing the right thing for the people as a whole.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Carlton.
I mean, I say, well, how would you vote? Well, let's talk about because something that I found a new issue with as I was looking for a venue for a function in Savannah. So how would you have voted on, I mean, so how would you vote on a new business alcohol license in your district and around the city? Because so the one thing that I encouraged was for a venue, that particular venue was structured where they couldn't hold the alcohol license, but a venue in the same district right around the corner could.
Mm-hmm. Savannah, in my opinion, needs to create an independent alcohol commission that decides the licenses. This is how most cities really do it. Savannah politicized the process, and it really hurts the integrity of our government. It's old school and very outdated. And so I would leave it up to an independent commission. I laid it out a structure to do this, to make it fair. And you can read it on my Facebook page, which is Todd Rhodes to City Council.
Okay. Back to you, Julius. Or you want me to go ahead?
You go ahead.
Okay. So, Todd, you know, one of the more significant conversations, you spoke on poverty. And it's interesting that a city with the ports and the billions of dollars coming through the ports that we have poverty. But then you look at issues such as we put $1 million on Broad Street. We put so much money into that arena, and we don't address things like poverty. But most importantly, we don't allocate funding for the weeping time. And so how would you kind of navigate that space or reignite that conversation around weeping time to make sure that we're advocating for not just tourism activities, but for things that are near and dear to the hearts of African Americans in this community?
First of all,
before you begin, Robert, explain what a weeping time is so everybody understands.
Gotcha. So for our viewers who don't know, the weeping time is an area in the city of Savannah where it is the largest or one of the largest slave trades in American history, not just for Georgia, but nationwide. And so it's very significant that we understand that conversation, but not only just understand the conversation, preserve that land so that we don't build structures on it or desecrate the land in a way that doesn't appreciate the value of what happened in that moment in time years ago. So thank you, Carlton. So back to you, Todd. How would you kind of navigate that conversation?
Well, the incumbent, she has ridiculed those who want to save and respect the weeping time. I will not. I will give the weeping time the same level of attention and investment that this council has made in tourism, Broughton Street, the arena, as well as the Canal District. I also respect the weeping time. and it needs to be acquired and preserved. Honestly, the incumbent sounds like Ron DeSantis when it comes to representing our history. So there you go.
Julius, I think it's time for our first commercial break, if I'm correct.
Yes, it is.
All right, we'll be back in a moment. All right, we're back.
Okay. Well, Todd, we had some very vocal citizens recently at the last city hall meeting, and there were taxes were on the board. And although it's not a tax increase, they with the property values going up so high all across the country, everybody's taxes went up because your property go up, your taxes go up. Your property value go up, your taxes go up. So they, instead of bringing the tax millage rate down a half a point or so that people can still put that in their budget to pay their taxes, this council voted to keep the millage rate where it's at, and everybody's taxes went up. And they have to pay those added amounts. What would you have done different and do? Just tell us what your view is on that.
Well, Savannah doesn't have a revenue problem. Savannah has a budgeting problem. And I would have voted to roll the millage rate back and give property owners a tax reduction. The growth in the digest alone gave the city a windfall, but this council, it wants to keep all of it. Not rolling back the rate causes rental rents to climb, and council shouldn't be causing that. My opponent has raised taxes for the last 3 years.
Okay.
Very good, very good. Keeping along with that, we have this conversation around term limits. What are your thoughts on term limits as far as it regards local city politics?
What are my thoughts on the term limits? I believe when it comes down to the actual term limits, it should be to where you could do 2 terms. It shouldn't be that you just continue to stay in there, because say for instance, it may be somebody that has better ideas, can get stuff done even better. And so therefore you need new faces. Just like with us in this race with myself, a new face, someone that hasn't been bought or sold, and someone that really wants to be a servant and fight for the community. So, I believe over time, it's change is necessary. So I believe in as far as in the term limits, maybe 2 term limits, and then it's time for another face.
I feel differently. I feel like it should be at least 4, because I feel like the first term that anybody gets in office is spent cleaning up the mess from the last person that they did. So the next 3 terms will be the terms for them to develop their plans and do X, Y, Z, what they feel like was necessary in order to progress.
That's a great point. But
next question is the fairgrounds, and this is actually a question for both of y'all.
Okay.
What should be done with the fairgrounds? Me personally, as I feel like it should become an amphitheater. That's what should be done. That's just me personally. I feel like a new outdoor venue for people to come and host any type of event would be great for Savannah. But what are y'all opinions?
I think the project has been obscured and it lacks transparency. I believe it's a mess and it drags, including the city contracting with the firm to develop the fairgrounds that is under federal indictment for fraud. Does that sound like a good choice? The site is important to the community, but the council has only confused residents and misled the city at large. Let's clear it up, and we need to make sure that the residents' wants are the top priority.
I think I agree with you on that. The one thing that I'm concerned about with the fairgrounds is the fact that a lot of the voices of the residents that live around that space have not been really included.
Right.
A number of the residents do not want housing, but we have housing. So, I think what we need to do is take a step back, revisit the whole conversation and navigate it in a different way. Like Todd said, you have so many issues surrounding this current conversation that we're moving forward, and it's controversial. And so take a step back, include the residents, and let's look at it with a different lens.
Okay, great. If I was running, I'd take that same perspective. How about Calhoun Square? How would you vote on Calhoun Square, and would you name it for who? Who would you name it for? We took Calhoun Square off. The name of the who was it was Calhoun. He was an ex presidential candidate from South Carolina, somewhere around this area, South Carolina and Georgia. He owned slaves in South Carolina and Georgia. So they took his name off, and now they have a bunch of names that they're putting on. Now, the mayor wanted to keep his name somewhere there on a marker. The mayor is just so scary and no heart, no balls, no nothing. All he wants is a pat on the back. So, what would you do in reference to Calhoun Square?
I vote for Susie King Taylor.
Okay,
that's what I vote for.
Susie King Taylor would be your choice.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. And how's your ground game going now? You out there in the streets, and you're knocking on doors. I hope you're talking to people. You're going into grocery stores and talking to people and all this. I heard. So, tell us about how that's going.
Let me tell you, it's been hot. When I tell you hot out there, hot. But I'm glad I did start early, and going out there and listening. Going to the community meetings and listening to the residents as the citizens as they talk about different issues and things that's going on. So now hopefully it'll start cooling off, and me and the team will definitely be out in full effect all over the 3rd district.
Okay.
Very good, very good. So I think it's appropriate that you kind of take some time and kind of give us an idea of what your platform looks like or your vision for the 3rd district and the city overall. And so we'll kind of take a step back and give you space to kind of share that with the viewers.
It is very simple to definitely be transparent, to serve the communities. A lot of issues and things that I've been hearing in the 3rd, things for our youth in the city, having more opportunities. It's also for our seniors, having different opportunities and better things for them, and working together, building that relationship so we can work together. I definitely am focused on building the neighborhood associations, because together we stand as the village, divided we'll fall. So it's very important to make sure that we're making the best choices and decisions for everybody as a whole, especially for the least and the left out.
Okay, does that go back to Carlton, Julius?
Yeah, Carlton.
Okay.
Well, something you said earlier. Tell me a little bit more, because I want to know a little bit more about you, because it's important that we know as much as we hear about what what you want to do for the city and what you have planned. You mentioned your nonprofit earlier. Explain to me a little bit more about that.
Well, it started back in 2014. A team of a team, not just myself, but it was a team of us that came together, and we had a goal. And our mission was to use sports as the tools to reach the kid. But it was about mentoring. It was about showing them a different avenue besides what they were used to. We started off very, very strong with a lot of support, and we're still going to this day since 2014. And so to just get engaged, we took the kids on camping trips. We took them to football games. We took them fishing. Man, we played sports through the city and the county. We also traveled to take them on the road to different things in the parks and stuff like that. So it was a wonderful opportunity to be able to work with these kids while they're young and stay with them up until they become adults. And it was so important because those type of kids, we wanted to keep them so engaged and so busy that they didn't have time to get in trouble, that they didn't have time to be a part of the get into the system. Our goal was to keep them so busy and to keep them so focused that they didn't even have time to even think about doing anything negative. So, I cannot take the credit. I will not take the credit because it was a team of us that have done it. Some that's still here, some that's not still here, but it took a hard work effort from everyone, and we all worked together to make a better living for our youth in the city.
Okay. Very, very good. How many people you think should it be to get something on the agenda? As you know, you used to could just ask the city manager to put something on the agenda, then it could be voted on.
Right.
Now, since this new administration, Van Johnson administration, he done served 16 years, so he knew how to maneuver and get things done where he could be in control. So he lobbied until he got enough people to vote with him, change Dietrich's mind, change Purdy's mind, and change Linda's mind. And he changed the processes for putting things on the agenda. Now, instead of having 2 or 3 people, you need 5. What is your thoughts on that, and how many people you think it should be in order to get something on the agenda to vote for the betterment of our whole community? Because if you don't have people advocating for the disadvantaged and the underserved, then and they can't get anything on the agenda, then nothing's voted on it for them. So you thinking that they're not doing their job,
right?
But in essence, they can't get nothing on the agenda to do their jobs, and those people don't want those things on the agenda, so they won't have to vote for it or vote against it, so they won't look bad. So what's your thoughts?
Right. I believe it should be 3. The mayor, he did change it to 5, and thereby gain a significant power move over the council. There isn't another city, I believe, that's in the state of Georgia that has a council manager form of government that has a majority standard to get an item put on the agenda. It's undemocratic and it's chilling for a policy, especially when the only policy that get discussed, like you said, and voted on is the ones that the mayor wants.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely correct. Okay. All right, Robert, you're going to take our next commercial break, and we'll come back with some tough questions.
Uh-oh. All right, here we go. we're back. All right, what's the first tough one, Julius?
Well, we got one more before we get to the real tough ones, and that was what's your thoughts on Geechiton? As you know, in Geechiton, they those people over there have still have a couple of dirt roads, I believe. They still have that company over there that has been polluting their air for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the company went out of business, the city, instead of the city saying that can't be industrial because it's making those people over there sick, the city renewed another company's license to continue to do that. And then the mayor acted like he knew what the hell was going on, which he knows everything that's going on. He's a damn liar. And that's what he is. That's what he is. We only tell the truth over here. You know, if he got a problem with what I called him, then talk to me. But he knew what was going on, but he acted like he didn't know that the license was renewed for the people. But these people's quality of life has been diminished by a city council that has not acted. And what would you do once you're elected?
First of all, the West Side doesn't need no more heavy industrial development. It's a serious issue for residents. And the incumbent has repeatedly shown that she's pro-development and anti-community interests. She looks to her members of the council on how to vote for these important issues. Just thinking about people's quality of life, it doesn't get the same level of attention on city council that development receives. And I will change that.
Okay, because we know that just like Union Camp, you remember Union Camp I used to live on Hudson Hill. I grew up on Hudson Hill in West Savannah. Union Camp had they all the smog and the bad air. Every morning we woke up, it smelled like eggs, you know, and they had to put these filters on their pipes, you know, to downgrade that. So our quality of life could be better when we were growing up. I mean, I went through it. That's why I'm crazy now. But you know, but now they have all over the country. You got to put on these smokestacks. You got to put filters and everything on it. And why can't it be that way for Geechiton? You know, that's what I'm saying. You know, because if these people are going to still operate, it should have to be some safety standards in some kind of way for them to operate, because they're killing people, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. So we recently noticed that the mayor of the city kind of had a reaction to Yamacraw. And I think there's a commercial out that indicates Yamacraw for who and Yamacraw for what. And for our viewers, Yamacraw is one of our housing authority developments in the city for low income, low wealth individuals. And so what are your thoughts about the Yamacraw conversation in regards to that, but also around this idea of affordable housing or income-based housing?
I can tell you this, the incumbent, she is voting the way that the mayor wants her to on Yamacraw. SCAD, I suspect, has his eyes on some of the property, and that's very concerning to me. I can't believe, it's hard to believe now from Miss Arlene Davis anymore. The Housing Authority of Savannah has become an agency of gentrification, and it's sad.
Well, and he said Yamacraw for who and Yamacraw for what? We know who Yamacraw is for and who's Yamacraw. I mean, they're talking about displacing 318, I think it's 318, something like that, over 300 residents. And where are those people going to go?
Right,
You know?
right.
And you have to have some kind of heart when you serve. You know, everybody can't serve.
Right.
And you got to have some type of compassion when you're trying to serve. And you got to be able to be a forward thinker to say, okay, if I put these people out, where I'm going to put them?
Right.
If I put these people out and they go to the unincorporated Chatham County, then I am diluting the voter base for everybody who represents. It took us a long time to take over Savannah. A long damn time. And we just can't give it up overnight just because you get people in positions who now want to be compromised and selling us out. You know, so you have to be able to govern for the people who sent you there. It's not about you. It's about people who are sending you there. And if you're not going to listen to them, then you shouldn't be in those seats. And that's what I tell everybody all the time. You got to be able to say what's best for this city.
Right.
You know, some things you're going to vote on and do because you think that's best for the city, but you cannot go lockstep every time against everything that's against the people. Take Fort Wentworth, for instance. We're building out here. So it's a lot of stuff that we have to do to make life better for not the people who are 70 and 80 years old now, but for the 5, 6, 7, 10 years old, you know, so that their quality of life will be better, so that they can live here and be comfortable. And that's the same thing that in every city. Savannah, if you ride around Savannah, Savannah is grown. Savannah is looking beautiful. The infrastructure is great. The everything that's in place, you got everything that looking good, except for when you go on the outskirts of downtown. It does not. And we have to be able to put something in place for everybody, everywhere in the city limits, in West Savannah, East Savannah, and those parts of the south side, southwest side that needs it also. You know.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Carlton, what are your thoughts?
On the Yammercross situation, y'all made us a complete jackass. And I agree with you. I agree with you. He is not this. He is this. Just so everybody knows. So as long as until we recognize that, because most people when they see him, they think about the fact that when he was an alderman, we saw him everywhere. He was always at this, that, and the third. But that was only so for the collective, so he could gain the trust of everybody who he knew would vote for him to get to where he's at. Because I gotta remind anybody else, he stays in a particular area that's very close to that a new arena that raised the property value of that particular property. That's why he allowed it to go over there. That was self-gain. And to also push them people out in the neighboring neighborhood.
And you're absolutely correct, Carlton. Van Johnson, I believe, is the biggest political mistake in the history of Savannah. In the history of Savannah, the biggest political mistake. You
said what?
Go ahead.
Now I was going to say, and the scary thing about that arena conversation in the Canal District, a lot of people don't realize that SCAD really has its hands on that whole conversation, that whole development. They have a vested interest in not only taking over property throughout the city, but right there with the Canal District. And the scary thing about it is, or the sad part about it, is that they don't pay property tax. SCAD doesn't pay property tax on the buildings they have. But yet you'll have a council that will maintain a millage rate that will allow people's property values to go up, and then their property taxes go up. And so we're paying SCAD's fair share. And I don't think that's the right thing to do.
Well,
when you continue to lose your high grossing tax base to a nonprofit entity that doesn't have to pay taxes, they feel like, we have to make this money from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got something a little controversial, and I know that the whole nation is talking about what's happening in Alabama, what happened in Alabama last weekend. And we were just, your thoughts on how it has come from one. I mean, we don't want to get you too mixed up in any type of controversial opinion, but you saw the video, I'm sure.
Yes, I did.
Okay, you could just.
I did. Matter of fact, you got that hat on. Go ahead and throw that hat up. Go ahead and throw that hat up one time.
The bat signal.
That's the signal.
On the serious note, it was an ugly event, and it shows how far that we have to go. It was racist. The fact that it was avert racism. What about the racism that goes on here? Like how many African Americans that hold liquor licenses or the black share of the city contracts?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
my take on it.
That's
Well,
true though. I mean,
we'll
as
accept.
we see
Go
all this
ahead, Rob.
development going, we see all this development going up, Julius. How many of those contractors or subcontractors are businesses of color, or as Keisha would call them, versus being legacy contracts? So
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Mhm. Well, we'll accept that short and brief opinion because we didn't want to tie you up on that because we want to make sure that everybody understands that you are a man of God and that you are fair and a fair and pleasant person.
Yes.
There's I knew you. I know your father, and you have everything in him you have in you. He is a very good man, and I see all those things in you also. So I just tell the people should vote for you. Just what is a good reason why they should vote for you and not the other five candidates? That's 4 or 5 candidates that's in that race.
Well, my campaign is about real change, generational change, based on the best for public policy. It's also a call to restore the rational representation to the third district. It's about electing someone who will be their own independent voice on council, not someone who just prefers to be told on how to vote. City council has a long history of marginal leaders. I really do not intend to be one of them at all, but I intend to replace one of them. So on November the 7th, Todd Rhodes for the third district, I'm asking for your support in voting for me. I have a heart to serve. I was born to serve, and I know what real servant being a servant is. Being a real true servant is putting your personal, putting your things to the side for the greater good for others, and really serving them, really loving on them, really paying them attention and listening to them, and not just listening, but also being consistent for the greater good for the people. And I know that's been lacking in the third district, and that's why I chose to run, because I see the lack. I see the lack, and I know for a fact that I can do a better job. I'm an easy person to talk to. We can work together. It's not no I. There's no big I's and little U's. It's us, and we have to work together. We have to build relationships so we can work and help each other, so we can reach higher goals. This city, I know for a fact that we could do much better in the third district. And I'm asking you for your support on November the 7th. And trust and give me the opportunity to prove to you what real servantship is. And if I don't do what I'm supposed to do or what I need to do, then guess what? I will step foot out of it, and I will get out, and you can put somebody else there after 4 years. I won't even run again, because again, it's about real true servantship. And that's something I want to do for the city of Savannah as well as the third district.
So you're saying that true service is more than putting a trash dumpster at 36 and Waters.
Man,
True
it's way
service.
past. It's more than just taking pictures with cat bus tickets and giving the people the tickets and you taking a picture. That's not servantship. Servantship is being a servant. Listen, I don't want my reward from a thumbs up or a heart button on Facebook. I want my reward to come from God. And so when you have a heart of servantship, people don't understand the sacrifices it takes to be a real servant. It hurts. It hurts sometimes. Sometimes you can do without yourself. I mean, just being a heart and having a heart to serve and to help people, even when sometimes you need help. That's how you know it's God, and I just plan to really just focus on servant, being a real true servant, helping everywhere that I can, not making promises, but really putting boots on the ground. I'm talking about action. That's why I say it's a time for action. It's time. It's time for some real servantship for our communities, because guess what? People need to see that. Mm-hmm. We need fresh fire. We need fresh fire. We need some fire that's going to burn, that's going to give hope, that's going to give strength. that's going to give empowerment, that's going to give education, knowledge, so we all can grow.
More than just giving out a free McDonald's.
That's not gonna work. And then you're gonna take a picture with it. That's no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, because that's what she does.
That's not true service-ship at all.
She thinks that her going around getting somebody some rotten bananas that's about to go rotten is service. I mean, we tell the truth here, Robert.
I know bananas rotten. It might have been,
we tell the truth here. You can't go giving people some rotten fruit because it's about to go bad and thinking that you serving the community. Oh yeah, that's how we do it out here. No, that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do what the people need you to do, not what Van Johnson wants you to do. And we need we need people going there that's going to be just like you just said. That's what I was trying to get out you the whole day. Just what you said a minute ago. That's what it's about. It ain't about you. It's about service.
No
service you can provide to somebody else.
What people have made this become, they made this become like this is some kind of celebrity, like
popularity,
and like popularity, and I got to be like this, I got to do it like this, I got to walk like this, I got to talk like this, and it's more than that. It is so more than that, and people don't understand. Like, I don't think sometimes, man, of being a servant, like sometimes, man, you'll just cry sometimes. I'm just gonna be honest, because I mean, you see people go through a lot, you experience a lot, and sometimes, like I said, sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you just be like, Lord, I need your help. I need some strength, But he gives you that because he's not going to put no more on you that you can bear. So I truly believe that. And so, he's shown me over time, because I have the heart to serve. That's why I'm blessed. I'm blessed because of not being selfish and not taking credit and wanting credit, but really, dethroning myself to be able to lift others up, even if they go above me. The goal should be either to plant a seed or to water a seed that's already been planted.
All right. Well, September 7th, I'll be in the street every day, everywhere from Bloomingdale to the beach. We're going to be in the streets every day for you and Robert and for everybody else that solicits our help. We'll all be doing this. It takes a team. It takes us all knocking on doors. I know Carlton will be out there knocking on doors, and Robert. So we're gonna be there. Put that thing on. I want to see Carlton's face. What Carlton? Oh, okay.
Carlton, listen. I will give Carlton credit. Carlton was one of the first people to help me canvas ever, so he gets credit for that. We were supposed to go to the gym one day, and I said, can you help me go give out these flyers? And he was like, I really don't want to, but I will. So he gets credit for that.
I still ain't make it to the gym that day. It was funny because I knew had me out there in them people neighborhood, and I was canvassing with him. I seen so many people that I actually knew that I wound up, he all the way up the street, and I'm still back here talking to somebody else that I know. I say, man, I ain't gonna never get through this neighborhood if I gotta keep doing this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Julius, Chuck got a question. Yeah.
It's about how you would vote on policy. If you want to be a social worker, go be that. And that's true. You can be a social worker after you done voted on that policy if you're doing it for the people, policy for the people. Linda has only voted for policy for special interests. There's nothing wrong with building the city and having those things done in the city. To make the city a better city. But when you vote 100%, 100% every single time with the mayor, and you don't have a voice, you don't have, and Dietrich, he don't even have a tongue. Linda has both of his votes, and she gave both of her votes to Vane. So in Purdy, he betrayed all of us. So we got to send new people, new blood, new people there that's going to say, okay, this is for the people. The downtown people are tired of all the intrusion that's they're getting from tourism. Okay, tourism is what this city is about. This is the boom for it. But don't do and invest $14 million in bricks. Invest that 14 to 17 million dollars, whatever they spent in the infrastructure of the other outlying communities within the city. Right. West Savannah, East Savannah, over in Liberty City and Tatumville. You could have put that $14 million to work at the fairgrounds. You want to put $14 million of bricks, and them people out of town wasn't looking for you to put no bricks down. And all it did was make Barton Street worse, didn't make it better. So when you go there, Todd, we're going to be looking for you to do great things. We're going to be looking for you to come back out and talk to the people, all the people, irrespective of what district you're in. Come and talk to all of us. We'll do that. Absolutely. I ask that you all just continue to keep me in prayer, keep our city in prayer. We've been experiencing a lot of shootings and crimes this past couple of weeks. And so we definitely want to keep our city uplifted in prayer. And I ask that you all continue to pray for me too, as well. And to God be the glory.
That's right. That's right. Julius, Carlton, any final thoughts before we close out today?
They should have spent them $14 million excavating them slave bodies from under Broughton before they put them bricks down.
Yikes.
Exactly right, Carlton. Exactly right. I don't know how many people in the race. It's 4 or 5 of y'all, I believe. But I think that we know that the incumbent has to go. We know that she needs to go. And we know that we can get some things changed and some communities moving if we can get those other 6 people out and put the 3 people that's there, leave them there and put 6 new people in. We did it before. They didn't think we could do it. We did it. You'll have our support. I know that y'all need to talk and have a meeting with the people who are running against her, so y'all can have an understanding. It's not y'all attacking each other. It's attacking the bad policies that's already in place and the bad people that's already in place. So after Labor Day is on, and we'll be everywhere.
Yes, sir. Plan to see you everywhere.
That's right. That's right. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place, right here on our Black Media Network. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Y'all take care. Thank you.
All right.
like that.